11 days ago, SpaceX filed the S-1. And in 11 days, every planning assumption you had is wrong. The valuation jumped from 1.75 trillion to north of 2 trillion overnight. The roadshow is targeting June 8th. And there's a detail buried in all of this that nobody else is talking about. SpaceX is expected to impose a trading blackout by the end of this month. When that blackout drops, you cannot exercise ISOs. You cannot control your RSU settlement timing. You are locked in place with whatever decisions you have already made. And this is not just a SpaceX problem. Every pre-IPO company approaching a public offering goes through this. Anthropic, Anduril, Databricks, other space or tech companies. If you're holding ISOs or RSUs at any company moving toward an IPO, a blackout window is coming for you too. The timeline is different, but the math is the same. Today I'm covering 4 things that have shifted, the liquidity trap most shareholders are about to walk into, and exactly what to do about it this week. SpaceX is expected to enter a company-wide blackout period before the end of April. That blackout locks down all equity transactions. No ISO exercises, no voluntary equity sales. Nothing moves until SpaceX says it moves. This line is the blackout. Everything to the left of this line, you control. Everything to the right, you do not. Now here's what most shareholders do not realize. The May RSU vest are not frozen. They're being accelerated. SpaceX is settling those RSUs in April before the blackout drops. That means your May 15th vest is landing now, in April, as a taxable event. 2 tax events stacking on top of each other in the same 2 to 3 week window. An accelerated RSU vest and a final ISO exercise opportunity. Future vests beyond May freeze during the blackout and compress into a post-IPO settlement window. Completely different tax year profile than what you modeled in January. And every ISO you exercise before the blackout starts the 12-month clock for long-term capital gain. And every one you do not exercise gets frozen at a post-IPO spread where that clock has not even started. The difference can be 6 or 7 figures in unnecessary AMT. The public S-1 is expected late April, maybe early May. Mandatory 15-day cooling period before the roadshow. Roadshow targeting the week of June 8th. Listing follows days after. 75 billion raised. 21 banks on the syndicate. Up to 30% retail allocation. Polymarket at 65.5% probability on a June listing. This is a regulatory process with dates attached. Filed at 1.75 trillion. Boosted above 2 trillion the next day. At 2 trillion, the per share price could be 600, 700, 800, or higher. The AMT on a $6 million spread in California is a 7-figure tax bill. On stock you cannot sell during the lockup. June listing means lockup starts in June. 90-day lockup expiry, September 2026. 180-day, December 2026 or January 2027. 90-day means you're selling in Q3 or Q4 of 2026. That income stacks on top of everything else in your 2026 tax return. 180 days means some gains spill into 2027. And RSU vesting does not stop during that lockup. Shares vest on schedule. They create taxable income. You cannot sell them to cover the tax. Cash is going out. Nothing is coming in. Those are the 4 shifts. Now let me show you why it's worse than you think. I call it the low liquidity zone. And in that stretch of time, it destroys more pre-IPO wealth than bad stock picks, bad tax advice, and bad timing combined. Here's the timeline. 3 phases, and you need to know which one you're in. This is where you've been. Tender offers open, secondary sales available, ISO exercise windows open, you had the options, voluntary decisions, real liquidity. That window closes at the end of the month, May through the IPO and potentially beyond. Secondary sales restricted. Insider trading blackouts active. You cannot exercise. You are locked in with whatever decisions you've already made. And here's the line I need you to remember. If a decision cannot survive the low liquidity zone, it is too aggressive, period. That is not an opinion, that is math. If you need liquidity in the next 6 to 12 months and your only source is your company's stock you cannot touch, you do not have a strategy, you have a problem. No liquidity, no control. June 2026. If the timeline holds, the stock goes public and you still cannot sell. 90 to 180 day lockup. Taxes are due on vesting events during lockup. Cash is going out, nothing is coming in. Earliest public liquidity. Late 2026 at best, early 2027 more likely. That is potentially 8 to 12 months from today where you have limited or zero ability to convert shares to cash. If you have not planned your cash position for that stretch, the low liquidity zone just doesn't inconvenience you, it traps you. Most shareholders I sit down with have never mapped their liquidity outside their company stock. They know their share count, they know the 409A, they can tell me their paper net worth to the dollar. But when I ask, where is the cash coming from to fund your AMT bill next April, they go quiet. So let us map it out first. And I'm going to start with the bad news first because you need to see where the balls are before I show you the doors. Your company shares during the blackout and lockup. This is the big one. The assets that make up 80 to 95% of your net worth is sitting right there in your equity portal. But early access comes with tax penalties and consequences that usually make it the worst option on the board. Those two buckets might represent 90% of your net worth, and neither one produces a dollar of accessible cash during the low liquidity zone. So here is the framework. One question. If you can answer this question, you are ahead of 90% of the shareholders walking into this window. Can I cover every tax obligation, every living expense, and every financial commitment for the next 12 months without selling a single share of company stock? If you are not sure, if you have not done the math, if the honest answer is I don't know, then you have work to do, and you have days to do it, not months. But here's the thing, the answer does not have to be no. There are sources of liquidity that you might not have mapped yet, and there are tools that let you run the exact numbers in the next 15 minutes. Shareholders who come out of this window in the strongest position are not the ones with the most shares. They are the ones that orchestrated a strategy around the stock price perfectly. They are the ones that answered that question honestly before the vault door closed. And then they did something about it. Go to AugustusWealth.com, run your numbers, map your buckets, and if you want to sit down and build the strategy with somebody who does this every day, the ready to talk button is right there. You plan for the equity, now plan for the gap.